What's up, America? Welcome to Goodnight America. I'm America's sweetheart, Eric Ryan. Not that I have to tell you what it is we do on this show, because we're the biggest thing in entertainment. But what the show is it's a Jew and it's an idiot, and we talk about the news that the mainstream media won't touch. You know why? Because they fear the truth. Also, they fear the Jews. Tonight's stories from the Wall Street Journal. A politician speaks the unspeakable. I'm just going to tell you, he doesn't like welfare. He says it's bad. Ooh, what a brave stance. Wow. Okay. From the New York Post, Cracker Barrel. I don't know if you've heard this story. It's crazy. Cracker Barrel reverses course on the new logo. Oh, thank God. Thank God. But first, from Real Clear Politics, Republicans are converting former Democrats and picking up new registered voters. Here with me to discuss the news is the Ashkenazi genius and all-around swell fella, Alex Fink. Alex, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here.
Isn't it great? Okay. So here's, this is from Real Clear Politics. So Republicans are converting former Democrats. It's really, the article is just a transcript of the video that was at the top, but it's a very interesting video. So I'll just read what the guy said. The Democratic brand right now has about the same appeal with American voters as the new Cracker Barrel rebrand had with American consumers. Bad, bad, bad. What are you doing? Oh my goodness gracious. What we're talking here in terms of big party registration changes is key in swing states. He looks at 4 swing states. As it turns out, blah, blah, blah. Democrats are getting crushed. And I ran through all the facts through AI. It turns out he wasn't lying. So I will ask you, as somebody who leans right, what does it mean to be a Republican these days, do you think?
No, I don't think that's the right way to look at it, actually, because this has nothing to do with Republicans.
Oh.
I think that the problem that Democrats are experiencing is that even though Donald Trump is getting less and less popular, being just against Donald Trump and having no other substance is even less popular, right? So basically, this is what we're observing, right? He has this tendency of just, okay, pause. Somebody's trying to call me.
Okay. We'll pause it right here.
Damn, I need to figure out how to do not disturb this. Yeah, so he just has this tendency of, even though he's not doing really well, to make everybody who tries to attack him look even worse. And this is what we're seeing. It has nothing to do with what Republicans are, because it doesn't matter. It's about what Democrats aren't. And they're not a party that proposes anything other than Trump bad. And they're suffering for it.
Yeah, which is weird because I do like what Gavin Newsom is doing. Like, I think it's funny. Like, that is sort of the attack that you can't, that's an indefensible position he's putting Trump in, because it's exposing how much of a lunatic he sounds like. But you're right. It's a substanceless party at this point.
Well, and by the way, that is a great example of something that plays well to his base, right? The people who like it.
Yeah.
And it does absolutely nothing else. Right. And so anybody in the middle who was not already sold on Trump is terrible looks at this and says, what the hell is Newsom doing? This is just bizarre and stupid. Right. It's not going to convert anybody else. It's going to lose a whole bunch of people that maybe looked up to Newsom and thought that because of his great hair, he might do something good. Right. And now all he does is write in all caps. Right. And so there's no upside here other than maybe winning the next primary. But it's certainly not going to help Gavin Newsom. I think that this makes him much less likely to be the next Democratic nominee.
Interesting. Well, we don't. I would have said everything Trump does would make him less likely to get elected, but he's, So I don't know. Humans are so fucking weird. I just can't wrap my head around it. So you're right. Like, Trump is, by every measure, seems to be less popular, but Republicans are getting more registered voters. That is so conceptually bizarre. It's humans are unpredictable weirdos.
Yep. But that's kind of the case. So I don't know if this is a prescription that Democrats can actually follow, right? But there are some people in the Democratic Party that are saying, okay, forget Trump. Like, there is life after Trump. This is his last term, hopefully. Hopefully. But we need to have substance, right? Let's actually discuss what is our program and focus on that, because obviously Trump bashing hasn't worked in the past. It's not going to get better from now on. Right now, it's still not working, but now it's also getting old. Yeah. So we'll see if somebody will actually take that prescription up, or they will keep trying to figure out the next way to tweet in all caps.
Yeah. But I will say, like, back to the original question, It's difficult to say maybe what a Democrat is and what they stand for. I think it's equally difficult to say what a Republican is and what they stand for at this point, other than I like Donald Trump or I don't, because all of the things they ostensibly stood for, the family and party values, the party of family responsibility, fiscal responsibility, not getting involved in wars. All of these things are like, it's so amorphous. Both sides are very amorphous.
So the Republican Party was always a coalition, as was the Democratic, right? So under Reagan, you had one coalition. You had basically the Libertarians, the Warhawks, and the Christian kind of family value guys, right? That was a three-party coalition. They disagreed on a whole bunch of things, but together they formed that party. Under Trump, that coalition changed quite a bit. And you're also hearing the story change, even the conservative story, ostensibly, right? If you asked me 10 years ago, what are conservatives trying to do? I would say half of them want to go back to the 80s and half of them want to go back to the 50s, right? But Trump is openly talking about trying to go back to the 1890s, which is it's a new brand of conservatism in some sense. So that is expanding things. Like, this is why we want tariffs, because things were so great back then, right? And there's a lot of these other things. So it's still in that, and the slogan is "Make America Great Again," right? So he's not hiding the fact that what he wants is pause and rewind. To some previous state. Obviously, it's not going to work because you just can't, right? The world doesn't really rewind, but he's trying to pick and choose elements from the past and say, this is our program. We want to restore this, restore manufacturing, restore tariffs, restore family value, whatever that may be. So I think that they are fairly coherent still as a coalition. It's just a little odd, and things are rebalancing. So you're seeing a lot of what used to be right-wing intellectuals become Democrats. And you're seeing a lot of what used to be working class Democrats become Republicans. Let's see if that benefits one party or the other. But these realignments have happened before.
I still believe that I don't necessarily believe in a global cabal, but I do think that it's just the muddied class. I think the Republicans and Democrats are like the Harlem Globetrotters and the Washington Generals. I think it's theater, and then one pins the other, and the peasants celebrate for a little while we all get fucked. You know what I mean? So
you'll get an answer on that in the next story, because I don't think there's a two-party global cabal. It's kind of a one-party thing now.
Interesting. Well, what a delightful setup, because we're going to talk about welfare states. Oh, Germany has one. All right, listen, come right back. It's going to be a spirited debate, I'm sure. Or maybe not. Maybe we agree. Who knows? Come on back. Welcome back. As it turns out, he was talking about the other story, but we're going to do this story first because that's what I prepared. Okay, this is from the Wall Street Journal. Very reputable rag. A politician speaks the unspeakable. Germany's Friedrich Merz says the current welfare state isn't affordable. So this guy's, it's really an opinion piece. So this is why it's worded like this. But he says, thank you, Chancellor, for this burst of candor. Mr. Merz is doing what no one else in the top ranks of Western politics seems willing to do, which has broached the fundamental dilemma of the modern West. Nations have built welfare and entitlement states that are so large, they have outstripped the ability of slow-growing economies to pay for them. Yet, because the entitlement cushion is so broad, it reaches deep into the middle class, it has become nearly impossible to reform. It's an article worth reading. What I don't like about it is that he has the audacity to compare Germany's welfare state to the United States welfare state. And they are so fundamentally different and so fundamentally varied and so fundamentally the cost is so wildly different. It's insane to compare the two. But what was your take on this?
Yeah, I would actually agree and disagree. I think that the German welfare state is obviously more comprehensive.
Oh, yeah.
The American one is just a patchwork of random stuff that was thrown at random constituencies to get their vote.
Right.
But if you look at the total amount of money spent on it, it's still an ungodly amount. So what the basic argument is making there is we're not growing really fast. We're certainly not having enough children to actually create new workers, right? Yes. I don't think he said it, but it's implied, right? And people are living longer and longer. So you have more and more people who are receiving stuff, fewer and fewer people producing stuff and contributing. Yes. So this is going to implode. And the reason it's imploding in Germany now is that the US is no longer footing the bill for their defense. And so they need to start spending on defense. Yep. And Germans, unlike Americans, are very uncomfortable with the idea of deficits, right? Yeah. They've never had them. They've always been for austerity. And so now if they're starting to spend on defense, they're suddenly noticing, oh my God, deficits, we've never had those. What do we do now?
Right.
And they're trying to see, well, what else is there that could potentially be cut? And there's a really obvious candidate for them. But it is unspeakable in Western Europe, right? Even countries that did it didn't talk about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Sweden, that cut their welfare state quite a bit, how many announcements have you heard about it? It was just done quietly so nobody would notice, right?
Right. In the okay, so back to the idea of like a welfare state in Germany includes things like universal health care. It includes things like pensions and old age security, and they really take care of their older people. So it's not what we know. It's not a fucking a tiny check every month. The unemployment benefits are unbelievable. The family and child benefits. There's a child allowance. They pay everybody in Germany up until the kid's 18 every month. There's social housing and assistance for the poor. They get so much. And it's fascinating that a lot of this is being cut now because they need to produce weapons for the Russian threat. It's like global politics is fucking wild. It's so interesting. And this is baked into their culture. Like our welfare state is, SNAP, or it's like, a couple thousand. I looked it up. It's not that much, but it's significantly less than the Germans get. And the idea that you can live large off the American welfare state seems to be this thing that I hear all the time. But looking at hard numbers, it's about 20,000 a year at best. How can you?
Again, you need to be a bit more careful there, because I think the American welfare state is just a lot more fragmented, right? If you look at just food assistance, it's 82 different programs, right? And that's just the federal ones. I'm not talking about the state ones. But that kind of highlights another problem that he mentioned, right? Or at least the article mentioned, which is that the welfare state doesn't actually help people that need help. Right. It very often helps middle-class people because those guys vote more. Right. And so we pass these programs. We say it's for the poor. Really, it's for whoever votes for me because I want to get reelected next time. Right. And so what you end up with over time is programs that, when you look at a poor person, don't seem to help them enough. Right. But when you look at total money spent, it's a lot. And when you look at percentage of the population who benefits from this and would start shouting if this was taken away, it's not the bottom 20%, it's the bottom 70, right? And now you can't get rid of these programs, or at least you can't improve them to actually focus on people who need them.
Yeah. Well, it's wild too, like when they just use the word welfare state for the German case and in our case, what you're talking about, the welfare state in Germany touches everybody. We're talking about universal health care. We're talking about getting a pension in your old age. When you talk about welfare in the United States, we specifically mean benefits for poor people. Like I don't get these welfare things that the average German gets. The average German gets all these things. So like the even the term welfare, we need a different word for this, because what they're getting isn't what we understand to be welfare. So it's just an odd comparison, for this guy's coming.
Some of it is and some of it isn't. I agree with you that they just have nationalized government services,
right,
included under what they consider to be welfare. Yeah. And we have those too. There's just fewer of those, right? But actually, Social Security is a form of weird government insurance program that touches everybody. It doesn't just touch the poor. It's sort of really badly means tested, if at all, right? And if you pay more, then you get more, which basically means we give richer people more welfare for whatever reason. It doesn't make sense. If you look at subsidizing college, that's one that Milton Friedman used to talk a lot about, because poor people don't go to college. So guess who you're subsidizing when you're subsidizing college? Typically, you're subsidizing people who either come from upper middle class families, because those are their kids are the ones who go to college, right? Or those who will end up there once they're done with college, right? So you're definitely not helping poor people, but you're helping people who vote, right? And especially if you are the party of the educated class, which right now that's one of the two parties, then you're going to want to help students because they're your future voters. They come from the families of your past voters. Right. It's clearly your constituents.
It makes me happy a little bit because, people shit on the United States for a lot of things. And I think, in a lot of cases, they're right. Truth is usually in the gray middle. But then let's look at Germany. They have a populace that can go to college if they want to. They have a healthcare system that means if you have a heart attack, you're not going to lose your house. I would venture to say they're probably healthier. They're eating at food markets. They're not full of preservatives like us. Well, you still got a goddamn problem, don't you? Because these things are going to be taken away from you, and you need to make bombs. All right. So all of you smart, in shape German people that don't lose your houses because you get cancer. Well, you still got fucking problems. You know.
Yeah, by the way, I wouldn't go as far as calling Germans in shape. They are not one of the healthier countries in Europe. They're just not
maybe, but I'm just saying we're probably fatter,
or Vanuatu or one of those really bad ones, right?
Yeah.
But in Europe, Germans are probably some of the most out of shape people out there.
Sure, but I think aren't we like the third fattest nation in the world? It's tough to beat Americans when it comes to this. So by comparison,
I'm thinking Kuwait and Vanuatu have more diabetes. We're probably number 3 if I'm
okay. So we're number 3. So I'm just saying, we're fatter than the average German. All right. So every country has problems. You know, I think we're just we're here, so we focus on ours. But I'm saying,
I mean, for sure. And if people complain about American bureaucracy, try German bureaucracy. So yeah, everybody has problems.
Yeah, everyone has. But I think that's the big takeaway. All right, listen, we have no healthcare. We're all idiots and we're fat. But listen, they're not going to take away.
And we can make bombs.
we got plenty of bombs. We don't have that problem. I can tell you that right now. All right, fuck Germany. Okay, come right back. We're going to talk about Cracker Barrel. This is oh, what a country. Welcome back. It's Cracker Barrel time. All right, this is a doozy. Everyone's favorite story. This is from the New York Post. Cracker Barrel reverses course on new logo. Brings back old timer after fan backlash. We said we would listen, said the people at Cracker Barrel. I don't think I need to read the article. You all know what happened. You live on this planet. Cracker Barrel changed their logo, and then somehow it was a whole woke thing. Everybody's upset about this. How? Okay. Hey, so you take away a white guy and it's woke, but then the Land O'Lakes took away the Native American lady and that was woke. And then Aunt Jemima went away and that was woke too. Is just removing people from logos inherently woke?
I don't think it's about logos or about woke. I think that if you look at this story from the corporate angle, right, you have a very predictable pattern that keeps repeating. Mm-hmm. You have something old-fashioned, right? And their audience is dwindling because there's fewer and fewer old people. They keep dying, right? And so they decide to hire new execs, somebody shiny, somebody with a lot of degrees, right? Maybe they hire consultants and they decide to find somebody else with a lot of degrees. And those guys come there and say, we know, let's try to appeal to hip young people.
Right.
And we'll find a new audience that is way cooler than our old audience. And what they end up doing is they get absolutely none of the new audience because guess what a 20-year-old is not going to do? Eat at fucking Cracker Barrel, right?
No shit.
But they keep losing their old audience faster now, right? Yeah. Everybody gets pissed off, and at some point they have to do a U-turn and come back. You've seen this absolutely everywhere, right? This is the Budweiser thing. This is the Harley Davidson thing. Yeah. This is the Jaguar thing. Well, it hasn't kind of finished with Jaguar, but it's going there, right? It's going to happen anyway. It's happening with all of them. And like the reason that it typically is called woke, because guess who's typically old-fashioned? Well, the right. And guess who those shiny new execs are with all the credentials? They are typically from the left. So sometimes there's some overlap with the woke, non-woke wars. Yeah. But in reality, it's just pure stupidity, right? If you have an old-fashioned brand that is slowly declining, milk it. There's only one correct thing. You're not going to make it grow. Improve margins, cut costs, and milk it while it lasts. There's only one correct thing to do. And by the way, private equity in the US does this really well. So I think if Cracker Barrel wasn't a public company, if they were owned by private equity, they would do this correctly.
I almost love it as much as I love when people's pets eat them. I love when corporations do this dumb shit. Like Bud Light is the perfect example. You alienated your base, you idiots. Bud Light is yellow fizzy piss water. Like, you know who drinks Bud Light? Frat boys, guys that listen to fucking modern country in their trucks. Like, embrace that. They were the #1 beer brand, I think, by sales in the United States. And then they try to appeal to a community that wants nothing to do with your shitty, fizzy piss water. What are you doing? Just lean into your base that you have that's paying the bills. I don't understand. And I'm neither here nor there on the train saying, I don't give a shit. I'm just saying that was really stupid. Just like this modernizing, this like corporate modernization of all this stuff. Like your whole brand is old-timey shit. Lean into the old-timey shit, man. I don't get it. It's not like they changed the name. They just took away the nostalgia part. That was so dumb.
Yeah. But by the way, when you say just do this, you're appealing to a group of people, right? But what you see in every single one of these things is they hired new people. The new people are the ones that brought these bad ideas.
Yeah.
Right. So people who don't come from this group, who haven't spent time in this particular demographic, right? They have no idea what they're doing. They're coming with these bright ideas from some Harvard business case that they studied while doing their MBA, right? This is what you're seeing there. So there is a political aspect to this because, again, who likes to make a new design and replace everything that was before because the new one must be better? On paper, it looks good, right? There is a political aspect here, and you're seeing that all of these lean in the same direction. Like nobody goes into a nice progressive brand and says, I know, let's try to make this really old-fashioned.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody does that, right? Everybody thinks, well, the new and shiny thing must be better, and it all fails.
It's new and shiny, but in such a a boring, vanilla, bland direction. I'll say one brand that did it right was Old Spice. Old Spice was like an old-timey grandfather brand. What they did is wacky. You know, they put the ripped up black guy on a horse, and every commercial was fucking funny and out there, and people embraced it because it was a new idea, which is, you know, woke, but they made it funny and unique and talk aboutable and interesting. All of these brands that rebuilt, you know, I looked up The Gap did it like a logo redesign and they just made it more boring. IHOP went to IHOB. Do you remember that? They pretended they were changing their names. That's funny and unique. New Coke, awful idea. Like, stop coming up with awful ideas. There's things Cracker Barrel could have done that wasn't just get rid of the old white guy in the logo, you know? But I did look at the menu. Everything's beige. Everything is beige at Cracker Barrel. It's very unappealing.
That is true. It is a heart attack on the platter, but the biscuits are kind of good, I think. But
I've never been. I don't think I'll ever go, no matter what the logo is. It just doesn't serve the kind of food. Isn't it just like an Applebee's or a DJI Fried? Isn't it like a bunch of microwave shit?
Sort of more southern than that, right? So basically everything is deep fried. Yeah. But yeah, some of it is okay. I think the only good reason to go there is if you're doing a really long round trip through the South. Then typically by the time you're hungry, there's one there. And it's this or Buc-ee's, and Buc-ee's sucks.
Buc-ee's sucks too? Yeah, so I mean, maybe they should get rid of the beaver on the logo. I know. Oh, one of the other controversial, that would be so woke. One of the other controversial ads they mentioned when I pulled up the research was the Peloton ad in 2019. Do you remember this? Mm-hmm. All they do is make fun of it. Back to the fat thing. All they do is call Americans fat, fatty, fats. And then this guy gets his Peloton. You're like, oh, what is your wife fat? Like, yes, probably. Jesus Christ. If you're playing the odds, like, what is wrong with the guy? What do you think a Peloton is for? To get less fat, right? What is this? Why can't we say that you got your wife a Peloton because you're getting in shape is good? You know, I just don't understand what was this controversy? Why are we mad about everything all the time? Jesus Christ.
Well, that's a separate thing, right? That maybe this one wasn't worth getting mad over, but again, it's super predictable, right? They tried to get rid of their most recognizable features to try to get some new audience. It's not going to work. Right. The way you get a new audience is you actually need to be somehow appealing to them to begin with. Right. You need to be cool. Like, I guess with deodorant, it maybe doesn't matter that much because it's all interchangeable anyway. But if it's food, then you're not going to get 1-year-olds to eat grits and biscuits. It's just not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, especially if you just go, you know, never in my life have I gone, I was going to go to a Cracker Barrel, but that white guy, I don't like that. You know what I mean? It's the horrible food is the fucking problem, not your stupid logo. So I just, like, you're concentrating on the wrong thing. Now, I guess they were in the news and then their stock dropped or something where the sales went down, but then Trump celebrated that they're keeping the old white guy and the shit went back up. So that's weird too, that our president is involved in the Cracker Barrel logo conspiracy or a controversy. Strange times.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, think about other recognizable things that were dropped for no reason. You had Uncle Ben's and you had Aunt Jemima, I think, right? Those were gone. Like, if you're making that kind of product, your product is completely undifferentiated except for the recognizable thing on the label, right? Yeah. So how about you don't fuck with that? Everything else, hire consultants for, maybe better flavor, maybe make it slightly healthier. But you are known for one thing. If Aunt Jemima is not Aunt Jemima, what the hell is it's a new brand? You need to start from zero again, right? So yes, I understand you're thinking that some part of the population is going to get offended by it, but they're not going to start buying you if you get rid of it either, right? They're probably not buying syrup. They're buying something healthy.
Humans are cooked. Like, who's mad at syrup? Have you ever been to a grocery store and get real worked up about the syrup box or the instant rice box? What is going on in your
I
life?
think it's the same people who were mad at the Washington D.C. football. Was it football? One of those sports.
The Redskins.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I can't say that. The Commanders now. Okay, so for me, I usually default to the person. I think there were the Native American tribes are like, we're fine with it. Oh, well, if they're fine with it, who the fuck is complaining? What are we doing? What are we doing here?
In fact, it wasn't just that they're fine with it. They said, yeah, this is like they're showing us in a positive light. They're showing the hero, right? We are the fighters that this team wants to be like, right? So it was complimentary to them, but
that was my understanding. Now, if they came and they say, it's an insult and we don't like it, I'll be like, all right, it's you. There's no Washington Caucasians, so I can't really, I can't chime in on this. But if they're cool with it, they're cool with it. The other thing too is like, okay, so all you did is when you took away Aunt Jemima, you took away Uncle Ben. Now there's less inclusion of you on the shelves. Now it's just leprechauns and tigers on boxes and shit. Like, didn't you want to be there? Isn't that part of the?
Wait, why aren't you upset about leprechauns?
I am very upset about leprechauns.
You should be offended, right?
I'm very offended. I write Lucky Charms every day. I say, you don't know what this does to me and my family. It's
on behalf of all leprechaun Americans, you should be very upset.
This is another problem of being white in America. White males in America, we get nothing. All we do is get stepped on and made fun of on cereal boxes. Anyway, I think we went over the 7 minutes, but that was a delightful tangent. I would suggest that you go buy some Aunt Jemima. You can't anymore, Uncle Ben. You can't anymore, but if you could, you should. And then maybe go to your local Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, and don't drink Bud Light anyway. It's still piss water.
Bud Light is so bad. Oh, it is so goddamn bad. Somebody, in this article, they called it the queen of beers. Hilarious. Sometimes the Fox News comment section is the best thing you'll ever read. It'll make you want to kill yourself. It's a little funny sometimes. Okay, anyway, listen, we'll be back next week. Good night, America. The queen of beers. It's fucking great.